Les Burrows.
Councillors, it is with much sadness that I have to inform you that the former councillor and chairman of council, Caroline Pond, passed away on the 13th of May. Caroline served as a Loughton Resident Association District Councillor for Loughton St John's Ward for 22 years, from May 2002 until 2024. During her long service as a councillor, Caroline served as portfolio holder on many of the council's committees, working groups and outside bodies during this time. In May 2008, Caroline was elected as chairman of the council, the first Loughton Resident Association member to hold this position. Caroline will be remembered as a quiet and conscientious councillor who cared deeply for the district with a special interest in planning and the forest. Councillors, would you please stand with me for a minute's silence for Caroline's honour? Thank you. Please be seated. Right. Would anyone like a Councillor Mead?
I wanted to speak about Caroline in my capacity as Deputy Leader of Loughton Residents Association, and also personally having known her for the past 12 years. Firstly, I want to express my personal deep condolences to Councillor Chris Pond and his son Ed and his family from all of the Loughton Residents Association councillors. Loughton Residents Association and the District Council were lucky to have such a special lady like Caroline on the district for 22 years. She served with honesty, integrity, respect and humility, and always with a smile. A little bit of background about Caroline prior to her becoming a district councillor. Caroline had a keen interest in politics from early on. Her parents were Labour voters nationally, and she had helped address election material back in the 1964 general election. Chris and Caroline moved to Loughton from Chingford in 1981, and Loughton Residents Association had been found only a few months earlier. On moving to Loughton and learning about the setup of a new Loughton Residents Association, Caroline was interested, as she thought the idea of a non-political residents association was excellent, particularly after her experience of living in Waltham Forest. When she left her politically restricted job to look after baby Ed, she was then able to become more politically active. Her husband Chris remembers one particular event where the previous Epping Forest District Council Chairman, Councillor Kay Ellis, attempted to recruit Caroline for district. But 2-year-old little Ed had other ideas. And I'm told he attempted to assault Kay at the doorstep with a very large soft toy when she mentioned the idea to Caroline. I'm guessing very intelligent little Ed didn't want his mum taken away for all those late night meetings. Therefore, obviously taking note of little Ed's feelings, she concentrated on her church work with St Mary's in Loughton, as she had a CFE background. However, she left St Mary's following a vote by the diocesan synod not to allow women in the ministry, so she joined Loughton Methodist Church in 1991, where she eventually became a church steward for 8 years, from 1998. When her husband, Councillor Chris Pond, was put on the Loughton Residents Association Executive in 1994, Caroline's interest in politics was sparked again. And when there was a new boundary review in 2002, many long-service councillors stood down, and it was her husband who encouraged her to stand at district. Chris said she was reluctant. This was because of her innate lack of self-confidence. She had to steel herself, but to some extent, being a steward of Loughton Methodist Church during the years previously eased that. And as the role included quite a bit of public speaking, as well as liaising with all sorts of people, readings and chairing meetings. This was her start at district, and her years of public service that we remember, and are so appreciative of her role on many committees, and her role as district council chairman in 2007 to 2008, which I am told she attended many engagements. I recently saw a picture of Caroline during her chairmanship at the Epping Forest District Council Museum. Her radiant smile showing how much she was enjoying the role and what brilliant ambassador she would have been for the Epping Forest District Council. On a personal note, I want to thank Caroline for giving me the opportunity to become a councillor, a candidate of Loughton Residents Association that enabled me to serve the district level, which has led me to vice chairman. For acceptance of my situation, for her kindness and support, as a friend to listen, to laugh, and for her belief in me, which enabled me to believe in myself. And her kindness and patience towards my daughter Daisy, taking an interest in her as she grew up, having known her since a toddler, understanding the difficulties with a special needs child and juggling council role and work. She was always there for many people, all people that sought her advice, nothing too much trouble, she would always respond, and care and listen, and was so knowledgeable about her council work, always the right response and the perfect advice. What more could you want? I will definitely miss her friendship and her being there and her sound advice. I visited her in hospital twice in the week before she passed away, and I'm so glad I was able to thank her for her support. I told her how loved and adored she is, and she heard me as I saw her smile. I thanked her for the opportunity she gave me and other people, and I reminisced about our chats and laughs we had over the years. Our conversations all often led to laughing. So Caroline, thank you, and I remember all your advice, and when I have self-doubt, that everything will be okay, as you always used to say. So I want to thank you, Caroline, on behalf of Loughton Residents Association and the district and people of Epping Forest for all of your hard work, your year's service and kindness over many years, which will be remembered for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mead. Councillor Chris Whitbread.
Thank you, Chairman. And can I first of all say what a lovely tribute that Louise has just paid to Caroline. Chris, you know from this side, all the Conservative group, our condolences go out to you and your family at this time. Caroline served on the council probably for as long as I have, starting just after me in 2002. And her integrity and decency always shone through. And we all missed her when she stood down last year. She brought so much to the chamber, especially in those early years that I remember. But she was also a first-class chairman as well, Louise, which I know you will be in the year ahead. And I know she'll be smiling down on you on that basis. So we have a lot to thank people for, and sometimes we don't always recognise the efforts that they make on behalf of their communities. but I know that Caroline will be very well recognised across the chamber for all the hard work that she put in to being a councillor. And it just shone through, you know, even though we're on different sides of the chamber and sometimes different sides of the political divide, there was no divide because Caroline cared about Epping Forest. And that is the most important thing that all of us do, is care about the area that we live in and the people that we want to serve. So, Chris, my thoughts are with you and your family, and I know that's the way of the whole council. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Whitbread. Councillor Stephen Murray.
Thank you, Chairman. It's always difficult to know where to start when you hear the sad news about someone that means so much to you. So very rarely I'm going to read what I want to say because I don't feel I can do it in any other way. Chris, I want you to know that dear Caroline was a wonderful colleague and was much loved and respected friend to so many of us. She always had Loughton at the centre of her community activity and served on both the District Council and the Town Council with great distinction. Her many years of service to Loughton Voluntary Care meant that she really was a helping hand to so many within our community. Community service was her first characteristic that began with a C, but she also brought those of common sense, consensus seeking and commitment. Her service on Loughton Town Council, Epping Forest District Council, for me, was characterised by all four: community, common sense, consensus seeking and commitment. Fellow Methodists in Loughton, of which I'm one, Roses is another, will also miss her quiet, faithful Christian witness. And I was so pleased that our Minister Sue Crichton was able to regularly visit Caroline with you in the last few weeks. Personally, I will very much miss her words of advice and wise counsel on local issues, which I look for on a regular basis and was always so freely given by Caroline. Chris and Ned, you both continue to be in mine and other people's thoughts and prayers.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor H. Kaufman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There are far better orators here than I, so I'm going to keep my comments very brief and succinct. I'm very honoured to be able to call Chris and Caroline Pond friends. I'm relatively new to this job, and they looked after me. They cherished me. I'm a bit of a rough diamond here. They were always very considerate of what I had to say. I had some treasured times in the garden at Staples Road, tea and cake, look at the greenhouse, had a lovely, lovely time. And I've spoken before about the formidable contribution that both Chris and Caroline have made to our district and beyond. And I don't think it's been recognised enough. It's amazing what the pair of them achieved. Chris is here. He can tell me. I think they got married in 1973. Is that right? That's right. 1973, and they were devoted to each other. There is a saying that behind every great man there's a great woman, and Caroline was that great woman, and I'd like to leave it there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor John Whitehouse.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I and my group were enormously saddened to hear of Caroline's death. I mean, she was such a positive presence on this council for so many years. She could always see the absurd side of what sometimes happens here, as well as the very serious side, you know, getting things done on behalf of residents. And, you know, unlike some, she embraced all parts of the council's work. I served on licensing with her. She, as we've heard, was chairman. She was a group leader. You know, she played part in scrutiny. She really did have a very rounded participation and involvement in the council. And she was always willing to ask that question, why not? You know, when told, why can't we do something? But why can't we do it? Which is a very important question sometimes to ask. So, I know it's been a very difficult past few weeks and months, and we've missed Caroline since she had to step down from the council. But she will be missed not just in Loughton, but I think across the chamber. And all our best wishes are with you, Chris, and your family.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillors, thank you for your kind words about Caroline, and I'm sure it will bring some comfort to her husband Chris and to her son Ned that she has held in such high esteem. Thank you. We will now return to the agenda for our meeting tonight. Item 1 on our agenda tonight is the webcasting introduction. May I ask Mr Woodall to please read that announcement?
Thank you, Chairman. The Chairman would like to remind everyone that this meeting will be filmed live or recorded and uploaded to the internet and will be capable of repeated viewing. Therefore, by participating in this meeting, you are consenting to being filmed and to the possible use of those images and sound recordings. If any public speakers on Microsoft Teams do not wish to have their image captured, they should ensure that their video setting throughout the meeting is turned off and set to audio only. Members and public speakers are reminded to turn on their microphones before speaking and turn them off when they have finished. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Item 1 on our agenda, item 2 on our agenda is the election information. Councillors, please note that due to the District Council's existing electoral cycle, there were no District Council elections scheduled for May 2025. Thank you. Item 3 on our agenda tonight is the election of Chairman of Council for the municipal year of 2025-26. Before we elect the new Chairman, I would just like to say a few words of my own. Being the first citizen of the district has not been a position I ever imagined I would hold, but we have been honoured to represent Epping Forest for the past year. Carol and I really had the most wonderful year visiting all parts of the district and meeting so many people from charities and community groups. We have attended well over 100 events and meetings this year for every age group, from a graduation ceremony for preschool leavers aged 4 to 5. When I presented them with their certificate, and they were quite cute, that young, to the dementia memory train from North Weald. There were many on board who recalled the golden days of steam travel, so I've got a bit mixed up there. We enjoyed lighting the menorah candles and watching the spectacular fireworks for the Diwali celebration and welcomed the Sikh New Year. I attended Lopping Hall in Loughton, where there was a visit by the Right Honourable Duke of Gloucester, who celebrated 50 years as a ranger of the Epping Forest. Back in March, we hosted a civic reception at the Delta Marriott Hotel. It was a wonderful evening, and I hope enjoyed by all those who did attend. There were many people who made the event an enormous success, but I must express my sincere gratitude to Mani Singh from Regus, who contributed to the event by sponsoring the Team of the Year Award. This truly kind sponsorship allowed us to honour just a few of the volunteers who give their time freely in our community and help make Epping Forest a better place to live and work. My last engagement as chairman was to attend a Royal Garden party at Buckingham Palace on Tuesday this week. After walking around the beautiful manicured gardens, we managed to say hello to Her Princess Highness the Prince of Wales, the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, Princess Eugenie and Zara Tindall. Certainly a day well remembered for a long time, and it was a fitting end to a very busy year. As you're all aware, my chosen charity this year was the Essex and Herts Air Ambulance. Last July, we were lucky enough to attend the launch of this new helicopter at Hatfield House in Hertfordshire. It is a magnificent machine with the most up-to-date equipment for life-saving. I'm also delighted to let you know that this year, though, my charity fundraising and the quiz night at Thornwood Village Hall and Maisie Mead's talented show and the very successful VE Day celebration afternoon tea organised by Councillor Holly Whitbread, you have helped me raise over £4,500 for this very worthy charity. Most of us, I hope, will never need this service, but for those of us that do, it really is a life-saving service. Before I step down as chairman, there are a few thank yous that I need to make to my vice chairman, Louise Mead, for her support, who has stepped in on a few occasions when I was unable to attend a meeting, and of course her daughter Daisy May for her fundraising, selling badges, making bracelets, organising the talent show. To Councillor Chris Whitbread for having the faith in me to take on this role, and to Councillor Holly Whitbread for her fundraising. I would like to thank all the officers and the council who have been most helpful over the past year, but in particular I would like to thank my officer Pat Seeger, who has looked after my calendar, making sure I was in the right place at the right time and guided by me through my year. Pat, I'd like to present you with some flowers, if I may.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I would also like to thank my wife Carol, who has always been my constant companion at events, making sure that the chain was straight, I had my speech and was standing in the right place so she could take some pictures for social media. Unfortunately, Carol took a tumble 2 weeks ago, so is unable to join me tonight. But I'm sure you will all join me in wishing her a speedy recovery and to thank her for her unwavering support this year. Finally, I would like to thank you all for putting your trust in me this year as chairman. I can say that the thought of some council meetings made me a bit nervous, but you all behaved in a courteous and measured fashion, allowing our council meetings to be conducted in a dignified manner, and for that I am truly grateful. I hope that you will afford the same courtesy, of course, to the next chairman of the council. Thank you all. Councillor Chris Whitbread.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman, and thank you for your year of service to this council and for the people of Epping Forest. I have to say I've enjoyed the many times that I've seen you out and about on the road, and you're quite right, Carol does push you into the right places at the right time to get the photos done. And we've already heard once this evening that behind every good man is an even better woman. Yeah. And that's, so we're sorry that Carol's not here this evening, because she has done a wonderful job alongside you this year. But what a year you've had. It's been absolutely brilliant, and a year that you should look back on with pride, because it's such an important thing to do, is to be the chairman of, or chair lady of Epping Forest. And I know you've done it really, really well, and the council meetings have run amazingly smoothly, and I'm sure that will continue as we move forward. But really enjoyed the effort that you've put into this year. I know how difficult it can be sometimes, being the smiling face in front of everybody, and you're having to try and keep on top of everything. But honestly, Mr. Chairman, you've done a first-class job for Epping Forest. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Brooks.
Thank you, Chair. I'm sorry that Mrs Burrows can't be here tonight, because I'd echo what Councillor Whitbread's already said, that you've very much been a team. I saw you both blowing bubbles at the Send Christmas party together. Looked like you were having great fun. And also just quietly and conscientiously getting on with the job of chairing meetings and going about the district. Each chair of the district has brought different things to the role. Councillor Sunger, you know, Chigwell, the south of the district, the trips to the Madeira, the Canes with the Waltham Abbey and all the history. But Councillor Burrows, I always think of him as being someone that's very much rooted in Epping. And not only he has the advantage of a town councillor for many years, but this has all been against a backdrop in a year of a lot of change. not just the Labour Party slogan, a major change in government last July, followed by very significant reforms announced in local government that we've all got to look forward to. Yet, despite this very big backdrop, what most residents still want to see is a chair who's visible and around the town and the district, and you've certainly done that. And you've had some excellent events. I'm sure the VE Day at North Weald, your lovely evening in the Marriott Hotel, not to mention the quizzes and the carol services. And also I think you'll be remembered as being a gentleman and someone who was most courteous, because it is a partnership with officers, and Les, I'm sure, has absolutely exemplified what we should all do, and sometimes hasn't always been the etiquette we've seen from some members of this council. So thank you, Les.
Thank you very much. Councillor Holly Whitbread.
Thank you, Chairman. And just to say a few words, I was delighted when you took on the role as Chairman, and I think Councillor Brooks put it lovely. You are a gentleman, and I think you serve with quiet dignity, but also a real respect and commitment to public service. Les is always the person that I phone up whenever I've got an issue, whether it be if my hair's gone wrong or if something's gone wrong. Other than my mum, Les is the first person I call. But I do that for a reason, and that's because Les has always got a very calm head on him. He's always actually talks me down and calms me down, but I think that is reflective in the way that he has run and been chairman of the council. So I just wanted to say thank you to Les on behalf of the Conservative group and the whole council and district for your service over the past year, and thank you personally. And it's not only Epping I know you have a love for, you also have a love for your ward of North Weald, and made sure you did many events in Thornwood Village Hall and Northfield Airfield, most recently for the VE Day celebrations. And of course Carol, who has to put up with a lot. Obviously, you have to call Carol to speak to Carol an awful lot, and I know she does so much to help you and make sure things tick along properly. And if I can also say, because I'm sure there'll be loads of speeches for Louise when she becomes chairman, what a wonderful job Louise has done as your vice chairman. I've seen her at all the events along with Daisy May, and I think she'll be a real ambassador for women in local politics and in the community. So good luck, Louise, and thank you, Les. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Tom Bramage.
Thank you very much, Chairman. And Buckingham Palace, steam trains, VE Day street parties, you've had it tough, haven't you? But on a serious note, being a chairman is a very hard job, and it is also hard for Carol as well. And you both represented our district wonderfully at all levels that you have attended. And I think it is quite a testament as well to our ward that we both represent, that so many chairmen have come from North Weald. From Angrig to yourself, we have a wealth of talent in North Weald Bassett. So Nigel, there's hope for us yet. And in terms of your charity, the Essex and Herts Air Ambulance Trust, I know how dedicated you have been to that. On some occasions, you have sort of slapped my wrist if I was just wearing my Spitfire pin. And actually, before I stood up, I very subtly snuck on my Essex and Herts Air Ambulance Trust pin as well. So I think your championing of such a vital local charity has not gone unnoticed. Your leadership in the district has not gone unnoticed. And I very much look forward to being back in the trenches at the parish council meetings in Thornwood Village Hall, which I know you've been to in the past, but as chairman, things get in the way. I look forward to having you back full-time in North Weald. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Darshan Sundar.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Wow, what a year you've had. And I remember those meetings we've had when you were Vice Chairman, and all those days when you came in and said, you know what, it's going to be a challenge. I am so, so proud of you, Les, tonight, because you actually not only met those expectations, you exceeded those expectations. You're a lovely human being, and when you came to the Chigwell Fair, me and Councillor Riz, we put our arms around you. We gave you a good hug because you deserved it. You are that lovable person. You have been an inspiration, and you've been truly a great chairman. And I'd like to wish you the very best moving forward when you sit on the back benches. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Right. Councillors, thank you so much for the kind words and support this year. May I now ask...
Can I speak on behalf of the officer?
Books, forgot about you. Sorry. Yes, officer.
Thank you, Chairman. As Councillor Brooks has just said, actually, Chairmanship is a partnership with staff. And so on behalf of staff, I would like to thank the Chairman of Epping Forest District Council for the polite and courteous way that he's dealt with the staff over the last year. It's been a pleasure to work with, and we wish him and Carol all the best for the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Councillors, thank you so much. May I now ask for your nominations for the new chairman of the council? Councillor Pond.
Chairman, I'd like to propose Councillor Louise Mead to act as chairman of the EFTC in the coming year. Great surprise, but it is many, many years since Louise has been a councillor. She has been an excellent councillor, and as she was kind enough to say in the tributes to Caroline, which I didn't feel I should or could contribute to, but certainly she arose, as I told the council meeting when we suggested making her vice chairman last year, out of the blue, so to speak, in Lower Road in Loughton, when I and my ward team in St John's were canvassing for a council election, probably now about 12 years ago, something like that. And I remember getting home and saying to Caroline that someone had just arrived out of the door on the last road we were canvassing and said she would like to take an interest in the LRA and possibly become a candidate. And what you have sitting before you now is the result, 10 years or so on, of that chance encounter. I think Caroline was a bit suspicious when I went back home and said, we found a possible candidate. She says, is she young? Is she good looking? And I said all those things are true. And of course we also realised that there was Daisy, then I think about 18 months old, who was a parent when Louise joined us. So I have not the slightest hesitation in suggesting that Louise be asked to be chairman of the council for this coming year.
Councillor Pond, do you have a seconder, please? Councillor Murray.
Thank you, Chairman. I've been asked to second Louise, Councillor Mead, and I have to say this is probably the nicest job I've ever had in this chamber, because I want to second her with 100% support. She will make an excellent vice chairman. She's making... for a job I was really looking forward to, I'm not making a very good job of it. She's made an excellent vice chairman, and she will make an excellent chairman. I've seen Louise develop into a very strong and committed councillor, and she's certainly ready for this post. Her care and attention that she's shown for her own ward of Loughton Fairmead will now be extended across the district. In the spirit of this meeting, I'm really pleased that the support for this nomination is coming from all groups across the chamber. I wouldn't be doing my job properly, however, as a fierce independent, if I didn't very gently, and I mean very gently, point out that it's actually taken the majority group 14 years to realise that someone like Louise, in other words, a non-Conservative councillor, can actually hold the post of Epping Forest District Chairman. That's just a fact I very gently and nicely pointed out in the spirit of the meeting. So well done, Louise. You've got the support across the chamber and you will do a fantastic job.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillors, we have one nomination for Chairman of the Council for the civic year of 2025-26. Councillor Louise Mead from Loughton Fairmead Ward. Councillors, do I have your agreement for the nomination? Councillors, Lewis Mead, it is my honour to confirm that you have been appointed to serve as the Chairman of Council for the civic year of 2025-26. Please join me in the well for the signing of the Declaration of Acceptance.
Councillor Louise Mead, having been elected to the office of Chairman of Epping Forest District Council, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. It's with great honour that I accept the role of Chairman, and I want to begin by expressing my sincere gratitude to everyone. Firstly, thank you to my proposer, Councillor Chris Pond, and my seconder, Councillor Stephen Murray, for your kind words and belief in me over many years, and for all of you councillors who are putting your trust into me and have been so supportive. I'd like to thank the people of Fairmead Ward in Loughton who have voted for me as their Loughton Residents Association councillor 4 times over the past 11 years. It's a special ward and I wouldn't be here without you. Serving you has been and will continue to be an absolute privilege. Also thank you to previous Councillor Wixley, who was my colleague at Fairmead for many years, for 10 years, and whom I have learnt so much from and has become a very good friend. I'd like to thank the outgoing chairman, Councillor Burrows, and his wife Carol for making my year as vice chairman a year to remember, and being so kind and accepting of my daughter, Also Pat Seeger and all the officers whom I have learnt so much from and who I'm so much looking forward to working with again. I would also like to particularly thank the leader, Councillor Chris Whitbread, for his understanding of the importance of inclusion and accessibility, along with councillors across all parties who have been so supportive, and despite my unusual circumstances as a single mum with a special needs child, who has to come with me everywhere, has been accepting of this. And the need for my daughter to often attend meetings with me, as she wouldn't stay with anyone else. I would not be here without all of your acceptance and support that has enabled me to carry out my role as councillor. I'd like to thank Daisy's father, Michael, who will be stepping in for childcare all the way from Norfolk when needed, and my mum, who took care of Daisy in the very early years of my council work. Finally, for my thanks, I'd like to thank Councillor Pond and his dear wife, Caroline. They took a chance on me 12 years ago when my daughter was only 2 and chose me to represent Loughton Residents Association in Fairmead Ward. They knew I was a single mum, and I remember the first day I was due to canvass in the 2014 election and could not find childcare for that day, and so I couldn't canvass. So I was convinced they'd say, well, you can't stand as a councillor then. If you're a single mum, you can't get childcare if you can't even do a bit of canvassing. But with Caroline's usual understanding, calm voice, she told me not a problem, just come out when you're able. So thanks for believing me, Councillor Chris Pond and Caroline, and for being there for me and Daisy over so many years. I really hope that Caroline is proudly looking down on me today and I don't let her down. So a little about me. I've lived in Loughton for 23 years. I grew up in Woodford Green and went to Braeside School in Buckhurst Hill. Eventually I went to Epping Forest College, it was called then, to study my A-levels. We're in my first term. I was excited when we went to my first government and politics lesson, and I was the only girl in the class of about 20 odd boys to study that, my favourite subject. So coming from a girls' school, I found it quite difficult, so I nearly quit the subject. But thanks to a brilliant tutor, Diane, who also lives in Epping, and I was able to thank her this week actually, I stayed the course and passed. And as coincidence would have it, that same year, the first Epping Forest District Council female chairman, Councillor Anne Miller, whom I had been following with interest. I'm pleased that times have changed and that so many more women are now involved in politics. After some of my own personal difficulties, I felt strongly I wanted to help others, so I trained to be a social worker and qualified as one of the youngest social workers at the time. For over 20 years, I worked and managed in child protection, youth offending, prisons. I worked in a magistrates and crown courts, adults with mental health and children with disabilities. I gave up my social work career in 2020 to home educate my autistic daughter. But I hope that my experience in social work, along with some of my own difficulties and challenges in life, enables me to have the understanding and empathy of the issues that affect us here in Epping Forest and beyond, and the root causes and the importance of community cohesion, guidance and support. I'll be the first citizen for this year, but I'm one of you. I do understand how hard life can be, especially with a special needs child, being a single parent negotiating the systems to get support, so I know how stressful it is, and I'm with you. During my year as Vice Chairman, it's been so good to meet so many of our residents, community volunteers and community champions, and get to know our Youth Council, and getting involved with cultural events, which I very much hope to foster this year. All these amazing people, all working together, day in, day out, to make Epping Forest a special place to live and work. And they don't do it for awards or recognition, they do it because they care, and we're really lucky to have you. I'm very much looking forward to meeting many more of you during my chairmanship in the coming months, and continuing to raise the profile of Epping Forest District Council as a fabulous place to work and live. My 14-year-old daughter, Daisy May, will be my consort and is looking forward to this very important role. Daisy May has autism and selective mutism, social anxiety and separation anxiety, so she may not be able to speak when she meets people, but while she finds verbal communication difficult, she thoroughly enjoys meeting people, finding out about local projects and really wants to help others. Her main ambition in life is to help other people, and she tries to think of ways of doing so. She's very artistic, a computer whiz, and brilliant at thinking of fundraising ideas and making them come to life. So I will be relying on her for that. I hope councillors will support our fundraising events and give generously. At times when Daisy is unable to accompany me, or it's not suitable, I've asked former district councillor and current town councillor and Loughton Town Mayor, Councillor David Wixley, to be my consort, and he's kindly agreed. Looking ahead, my plan as chairman is to lead with fairness and consistency. We have a challenging year ahead at the District Council. Lots of change, but come with that, lots of opportunities. I hope as your chairman, I will ensure respect, calmness and kindness. Every one of us has our own thoughts and ideas, and I know that passions run high in the chamber and out. We all care, and that's why we're all here. And healthy discussion is what enables us to come to decisions. But I expect all councillors to uphold the principles of respect, professionalism and constructive dialogue, both in and out of the chamber. I won't tolerate any rudeness during meetings and will ensure this is picked up if I witness it in the chamber. A special mention for those quieter councillors, or councillors that are newer. I would really encourage you to speak, as I know you have so much to offer, and we really want to hear you. We need to hear all 54 voices. Please reach out to me if you need support, and I'd be really happy to help or support in any way I can, because I've been there and I know how it feels. Finally, and most importantly, for any members of the public watching or listening, I would please encourage you to attend these full council meetings, of which you can find the details on the Epping Forest District Council website. I would really like to see you in the public gallery at our full council meetings and ask questions and come to listen. You and your families would be warmly welcome. You are what we are here for. We represent you and we need you here, and we need to hear you at these meetings to help us represent you. Thank you. So, we're on to agenda item 4. It's to appoint the Vice Chairman of the Council for the municipal year 2025 to 2026. May I ask for your nominations for the new Vice Chairman of Council for the civic year 2025 to 2026? Councillor Risby.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. And can I first go on record to also pay my tributes to the late former councillor Caroline Pond, and in particular I'd like to express my condolences to Chris, the entire Pond family, my LRA colleagues and the residents of Loughton. As we've heard, she was a true champion for the people of Loughton. And Madam Chairman, can I also take this opportunity to welcome you to the chair and wish you a fruitful and memorable year ahead. I'm delighted to propose Councillor Alan Lyon as Vice Chairman. I've known Alan for a number of years as a fellow Chigwell councillor, and I know how hard-working, capable and diligent he is for this role. Alan is a highly respected figure within Chigwell. He's one of the most experienced councillors in this chamber and always acts in the most professional and respectful way possible. He is a man of integrity and takes his role as a councillor with the level of responsibility that it deserves. He's very approachable and he's always able and available to offer sound and sensible advice any time of the day. I know how honoured he is to be considered for this role by the leader and by members of our group. Alan serves his residents with distinction, and I know he will be a fantastic ambassador for this council alongside yourself.
Councillor Risby, do you have a seconder for your nomination? Councillor Bedford.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Councillor Risby. Yes, it's my honour to actually stand this evening and say, well done, Louise. That's the first point. I think we need to get that across. And Daisy May, especially Daisy May, who I will be asking later on, has she done that video yet? Because she keeps promising me she's going to do a video. But that's for later on. Chris, condolences on Caroline, as everybody else has mentioned. It goes without saying. But getting to the point, yes, I propose that Vice Chairman is Councillor Alan Lyon. I've known Alan for a number of years. He's served on many committees. He's acted with diligence and he's always asking probing questions, especially around the HGTT and the infrastructure that's being put in place. Now it's his turn to be in the firing line, so I'd like to, but that's my seconding. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Bedford. Councillors, do I have your agreement for the nomination?
Agreed.
So, Councillor Lyon, it's my honour, Councillor Alan Lyon, it's my honour to confirm that you have been appointed to serve as the Vice Chairman of Council for the municipal year 2025 to 2026. Please join me in the well for the signing of the Declaration of Acceptance.
Having been elected to the office of Vice Chairman of Epping Forest District Council, I declare that I take the office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability.
Can we turn off the microphone there?
Thank you. Firstly, I would like to thank Louise, Councillor Mead, for thinking of me and asking me to be her deputy. It's a great honour and privilege to be considered, and after consultation with my wife, a very important consultation, I have gratefully accepted that nomination for Vice Chairman. Thank you to my proposer and seconder, Councillor Rizvi and Councillor Bedford, and for your kind words. Thank you to the members that have supported my nomination, and for all of you in putting your trust in me for this monumental time of change. I'd like to thank the people of Grange Hill Ward in Chigwell who have voted for me as their councillor at parish and district over the past 20 years. I've looked to continue to support and serve you at all times, working with and learning from my fellow councillors back from the start, to name a few people from the past: Michael Evans, Gavin Stoller, Fergus McLean, Kewal Channa and Gaga Mahindra, who is now an MP, and those newer members that I have worked with along the way. I'd like to recognise the splendid work done by the outgoing chairman, Councillor Les Burrows, always a gentleman and together with his wife Carol for their total commitment. I wish Carol a speedy recovery after her recent fall. I'd also like to particularly thank the leader, Chris Whitbread, for his support. I can't let this moment go without mentioning the sad loss of Councillor Caroline Pond. I know she's been unwell for some time. She had been a stalwart of the council, and my sincere condolences to Chris and the family. A little about me. I've lived in Chigwell for over 30 years. I worked for the Post Office, later BT, for some 33 years, and saw changes from a government department to a private company with massive cultural and organisational changes, much like the changes we will see with local government reorganisation. Working in a large organisation has been helpful in understanding difficulties residents have in navigating the council organisation at parish, district and county level. As a chair of the Digital Innovation Zone, it's been an interesting spearheading digital services across our community, working across district and county boundaries with both members and officers at all levels. On retirement from BT, I took up a role as a guide at Buckingham Palace, so I know about garden parties, and meeting people from across the UK, across the world, and looking forward to my year as Vice Chairman, and to meet so many of our residents, members of the community and businesses, and to spend more time with the community activities and cultural events. Finally, I say that it will be an honour to support Louise in her role as Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice Chairman. So, councillors, item 5 on our agenda is apologies for absence. So, Mr Woodall, do we have any apologies for absence?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, we've had apologies tonight from councillors George, Markham and Yerrill.
Okay. Thank you very much. Item 6 on our... Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I'm from Councillor Smruti Patel.
Can we note that? Yes, Mr Woodall. Thank you. Anyone else before I move on? No? Okay, thank you. So item 6 is declarations of interest on our agenda. Are there any declarations of interest, councillors? No? Thank you. Councillors, you will find attached to your agenda minutes of the meetings held on the 20th of February and the 8th of April 2025. Mr Woodall, I understand you have an update to the minutes.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Councillor Whitehouse pointed out this afternoon that there was a typographical error in minute 93. It said Arlington Close as our advisors rather than Arling Close. So I have amended that and republished the minutes this afternoon. So although it says in your agenda pack Arlington Close, I have corrected that error on the official set of minutes. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr Woodall. So may I now sign them, the minutes as a true record of the meetings? Agreed? Thank you. So we now have agenda item number 8, which is Chairman's announcements. So I wanted to let you know that I'm going to support 2 charities during my chairmanship this year. I'm supporting the Epping Forest Food Bank and the League of Friends of St Margaret's Hospital. The Epping Forest Food Bank is based in Loughton with a warehouse and offices. They provide 3 days of nutritionally healthy, balanced meals for people referred in need and believe that nobody should go hungry. They rely on donations of food and money and volunteer support, and it's getting busier all the time. A person in need will receive food that has been recommended by an NHS dietitian, such as tinned fruit, meat, pasta and snacks, and they also are provided with toiletries and laundry needs if needed. But they're more than a food bank. They make referrals to Mind for people in crisis or needing mental health support. They also need support to hold on to their benefits advisor, which is crucial to help people get out of the difficult situations they're in. Along with a debt advisor, they hope to recruit and a van to deliver and collect food. They also have a community presence. They're giving people volunteer roles and experiencing what it's like to volunteer, and in roles that they feel comfortable and inclusive. So my own daughter, she has been volunteering for the food bank, and despite her selective mutism, her difficulties in communication, she is actually volunteering on their social media. So they send the pictures for her to put in the social media, and she can do that at home. So that's brilliant for her. So they're serving more than a food bank. The League of Friends of St Margaret's Hospital in Epping is a charity that has been going since 1949. They provide those extras that help patients which the NHS can't provide. Recently, they raised money for a mirror box therapy that helps people recover their upper limbs if they've had a stroke. And they provide therapeutic programmes on iPads, and they also have a garden project. This charity has special meaning to me to be one of my charities. I worked at St Margaret's in a social work capacity in the same year, actually, as Caroline's was chairman. And it was also Caroline's charity when she was chairman, and it's also the hospital that treated her recently. I hope you will support me in events to raise the profile of these important charities that are based in our district and benefit the people of Epping Forest and beyond. I will make you aware of our plans for events to support the charities in due course. I know that Daisy has lots of ideas up her sleeve, and I'm going to have to rein them in a little bit, but she does have a lot of ideas, so let's see if they can come to life. Just to let you know, I will be a voting chairman. And one more thing, I understand the need for you to have your phones on, but it would be really nice if they were on silent and didn't go off during meetings. Thank you. So, councillors, item 9 of our agenda tonight is the report of the appointments panel. May I ask the Leader of Council, Councillor Chris Whitbread, to represent that report. Thank you. Present.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, first of all, welcome to your position. It's well deserved, and I know it's going to be a brilliant year. And I'll do my best not to cause any problems. Can't promise, but I'll do my best. But it's delightful to see you in that role, and I know yourself and Daisy May will do a first-class job for the whole of Epping Forest, and Alan alongside you, I know will be great. So thank you very much. It's an interesting year this year. You're certainly right. It's going to be a very busy year with lots going on. I'm under no illusions of the endeavours this council will have to go through in the coming year. And I think even before we get into the appointments panel, it's worth pointing out we're going to have a very difficult year for the budget. There's real challenges there. We are going to have real challenges with local government reform. That's making progress now. And, of course, as the year goes on, we will have challenges in a whole variety of areas that we have to work on, as well as all the government changes in planning that are coming down the road very thick and fast. So if you can bear with me as we go through this evening's report, I will take it a stage at a time and agree some of the recommendations as we go, if that's okay with you, Chairman.
Thank you.
Okay, so to start with, we go to page 32 on the agenda, which has recommendation 4 is the makeup of the political... Sorry, first of all, there is the recommendations 1 through to 4, which is the makeup of the political groups. As you will see, the Conservative group this year has myself as leader, and I have now had 2 deputy leaders, one being Nigel, the other being Ray. There is a reason behind that, and it's to do with the local government reform piece in particular. It's very important that we keep our mind focused on business as usual, but it's also very important that we play an active role in local government reform, making sure that Epping Forest voice is heard. You will probably be aware that there are 2 business cases that are starting to evolve with regards to the local government reform piece. One is a group of councils that, without evidence so far, are looking at 5 unitary authorities for the whole of Greater Essex. And there is also a business case that will be coming forward from councillors who are looking at the whole big picture of the evidence that's been gathered, and there's likely to be 2 different cases that come forward as the year progresses. And at some point in the summer, early summer I should imagine, we will be looking at those two cases from this council's point of view. It's really important, therefore, that Nigel will do some of the meetings back here. Ray will be taking on the meetings every 2 weeks for the group of councils that are looking at 5 unitaries, and therefore, to go to those meetings, you really do need to have the authority of being the deputy in order to speak out on our behalf. So that's a change that I've made this year, which is more of a group change than anything else, but I wanted to make all councillors aware of it. The Liberal Democrat group is as confirmed on papers, and the Loughton Residents group is as listed, and along with the new Epping Independence group, which is as listed as well. So if we can take those as being agreed. So that's recommendations 1 to 4. We then get on to the appointments piece. This is a long report. And we start with the Cabinet. The Cabinet so far this year is myself as leader, and obviously, as I've described, the 2 deputy leaders. Otherwise, it is unchanged at the present time. I'm not saying it will remain unchanged, and nothing stays static forever, and we probably will be looking at a review in the autumn, especially as matters start to progress with regards to that dreaded word I mentioned before. But members, can I ask you to note the makeup of the Cabinet for the coming year? Councillor Murray?
Yes.
Just a couple of points, Chairman. I'm pleased to see that the Cabinet hasn't changed. I think they did a reasonable job last year. Didn't agree with everything they did, but they did a reasonable job. I just want to point out one portfolio holder. And it's actually for quite a positive reason. And that's the job that Councillor Holly Whitbread did this year, because I don't think it was a job that she was necessarily expecting. I don't want to rehearse old elections, but it basically probably was necessary because of an election we sold 12 months ago. So it probably wasn't a job you were expecting for, and it was probably a steep learning curve. In fact, I think you shared with us that it would be a steep learning curve. And as far as I'm concerned, I think you've done the job really well. Again, I don't necessarily agree with absolutely everything, but you have really done the job very well. It was something that you were new to. You were very honest about the steep learning curve, and I think with the help, obviously, with officers, you briefed yourself very thoroughly and steered a difficult budget. So, well done.
Do you want to continue, Councillor Whitbread?
Thank you, Councillor Murray, and I agree it was a job well done and a tough job to do. Finances for any council at the moment is not easy. If we then move on to the committees, audit and governance is as set out. They appoint their chairman at the beginning of each municipal year, so that will be down to that committee, but the membership is all set out on page 1. Can I take that as agreed? Agreed. We then move on to the Constitution Working Group, which is as set out on page 2. Can I take that as been agreed?
Agreed.
Licensing Committee, we need one additional nomination from the Liberal Democrat group, otherwise as agreed. Councillor Whitehouse.
Councillor Tippy Cornish.
Thank you. With that noted, can we take that as being agreed?
Agreed.
We then move on to overview and scrutiny. Members, it's as set out. I do have to add one additional Conservative, and I'd like to add to that, without his knowledge yet, but I'm sure he'll be happy, is Councillor Les Burrows. Can I take that as being agreed?
Agreed.
Chairman, one of the few committees that requires a vote this evening is the Communities Scrutiny Committee. I think there's a vote required for 2 members, and we have 3 nominations. Can I hand to Mr. Woodall?
Yes, that's fine. Yeah.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, we have 11 members on this committee. The Conservative group have made their 6 nominations. The Liberal Democrats have made their 1 nomination, and the LRA have made their 2 nominations. So I don't feel there's any need to have a vote on them. So we have 3 nominations from either independents or members of single member groups. So we have Councillors Lisa Morgan, Councillor Stephen Murray and Councillor Jamie McIver. So before we go to the vote, are the 3 of you still happy to stand, or does any of you want to withdraw your nomination? Okay, I think we all want to stand. So in this instance, I'm going to say to councillors that you all have 2 votes each. So I'll just take it in the order that it is on the paper. So Councillor Morgan first, Councillor Murray, then Councillor McIver. If you just put your hands up to vote for the 2 that you want to, and we'll go from there. Thank you. So all those who would like to vote Lisa Morgan onto this committee, please. I make that 40, Chairman. Councillor Stephen Murray, all those who would like to vote for Councillor Stephen Murray. (43), Chairman. And finally, Councillor McIver, all those who would like to vote for Councillor McIver, please. (6), Chairman. So that means Councillor Lisa Morgan and Councillor Stephen Murray have been voted onto the Community Scrutiny Committee. Thank you.
Chairman, could I just make one point? I didn't want to influence the vote, so I deliberately did not make this point before, but I'm an independent because I belong to nothing. I do not believe that the word independent is an accurate description of Councillor McIver. He's a sole member, but he's not an independent. He's a very proud member of a political party, so he cannot be described as an independent. I deliberately chose to make that point after the vote because I didn't want to influence the outcome, but he's not an independent, and I think he would be the first to admit that. He's a sole member. It's very different.
Councillor McIver.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I would just like to support what Councillor Murray has said. I would like to identify as a non-independent member of the Reform Party, but I appreciate constitutionally how it sits, but I completely agree with my colleagues' comments. And thank you to the members that voted me, and congratulations to Councillor Murray and Councillor Morgan, who I know will be fantastic scrutineers on a very important committee.
Thank you, Councillor McIver. Can we make a note of that, Mr. Woodward? Thank you very much. Councillor Whitbread, do you want to continue?
Yeah, thank you. Therefore, can we agree the make-up of the Communities Committee?
Agreed.
Thank you. Then we move on to the Place Committee. It is as set out, but I do need to make a minor change. I'm delighted that Councillor Maria Malcolm was elected as Chairman of Waltham Abbey last night, which is a very busy role, and I know Place is going to be particularly busy in the year ahead. And I know that I'm going to need to make sure that I've got a chairman and vice chairman in situ for that meeting. I believe some of what we have to discuss, along with both committees, in relation to local government reform may go through those committees at some different times. Therefore, I'm going to suggest that we have the chairman is Joseph Parsons and that the vice chairman is Councillor Darjan Sunga. That's a minor change. All other memberships stay the same. Can I agree that committee?
Agreed.
The next two are both the planning committees. Can I thank all those people who sit on our planning committees who have undertaken the training, and just remind members that training is essential on these committees, particularly as things develop. And I know there's been some useful training. There obviously needs to be more. Appreciate all the hard work that members are doing, particularly on site visits and the background information that comes from these two committees, and having attended a lot of them myself just to see how they're working, I really do appreciate the work that has been done. We've got Planning Committee A as set out. Can we take that as being agreed? Agreed. And we have Planning Committee B as set out. Can we take that as being agreed? Agreed. Thank you. The next committee is the Standards Committee, as set out. Can I take that as being agreed?
Agreed.
Senior Management Selection Panel, as set out. Can we take that as agreed?
Agreed.
And then we go to the Senior Management Appeals Panel. Hopefully it never has to be called, but can I take that as being agreed?
Agreed.
Right, now we get on to the long part. Representation on outside bodies. I have the Epping Forest Citizens Advice Bureau as set out. I take it that can be agreed. There is no votes.
Agreed.
We then have the Campaign to Protect Rural England. Officially, we should have a vote between Councillor Bromwich and Councillor Matthews, with Councillor Bedford as a deputy. Members, do we wish to go to a vote?
Councillor Bromwich? Yes.
To make sure that everyone gets home on time, I'm very happy to waive my position on this because I think Councillor Matthews has exactly what this panel needs at a time when farmers are getting hit so hard. So I'm very happy to give that to you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bromwich. Councillor Whitbread.
Thank you, Councillor Bromwich. I had an indication earlier, but what I would like to say is, can we actually put down 2 deputies for this so that there's no reason why we shouldn't have 2 deputies, so we always make sure that the committee, if it ever meets, is actually covered. I do know with some of these outside bodies it can be quite frustrating that you're put onto them and then they never actually meet. Then we have one that I know does meet, the Epping Forest Community Transport Board of Trustees, which is just one, which is Councillor Richard Bassett.
Agreed.
Is the leader saying that on number 2, Councillor Matthews is now a second deputy? Because he said wanting 2 deputies. I wasn't quite sure what he meant.
Councillor Whitbread, do you want to?
Thank you, Councillor Murray. To clarify, Councillor Bromwich is the second deputy and Councillor Matthews is the full member.
That's what I meant, yes, sorry.
Thank you.
I'm just looking through these and I know all members have them. I've actually got no votes on any of them, so can I take them on block? If that's...
Mr Woodall just wants to say something.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Leader. Number 7, the Grange Farm Managing Trustees. There were 2 further nominations, which were Councillor Murray and Morgan. The paperwork says that the existing trustees that the council have appointed as their representatives have a 4-year term to the 31st of May 2027. I did speak last week to the chairman of the trustees board, Trevor Johnson, and that is the case. So the 3 names listed there, Councillor Richard Morgan, Councillor Les Burrows and former Councillor Mary Sartin, are appointed up until the 31st of May 27. However, if one of them steps back at any point in time, then we would need to appoint another replacement representative. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Whitehouse.
Thanks, Chairman. I think we skipped over number 7, but as I indicated to the Deputy Returning Officer, J.H. Whitehouse there should read J.M. Whitehouse.
Thank you. Can we make a note of that?
Number 7. Sorry, number 5.
Is that for the Epping East ward, are we talking about?
Thank you. Please continue, Councillor Whitbread.
Thank you. Just on item 7, this is one of these ones to keep a watching brief on, in particular where there is a local interest element to them. As we move forward, because in 2027 we will also very likely have a shadow authority at the same time as still existing as a district council for another year. So it's worth making sure that we preserve in the future these local links. It's really important. So I think it's good that we've actually got these 2 nominations here, and it's good that we keep a watching brief on these areas. We then go forward, Lee Valley, that's as set out, so if we can take that as agreed. Members will have noted 9 that the Leisure Centre liaison groups are no longer meeting, so no appointments required. The Epping Forest Local Council's liaison, to note that Councillor Bromwich has been added to the list on that particular one. Outer North Essex Joint Health Overview and Scrutiny Committee is as set out in the paper. Then the Roding Valley is as set out with Councillor Murray. All these are just as set out until we get to number 21, which is the Whips Cross Joint Health Overview and Scrutiny Committee. And if we could substitute Councillor Rizvi for Councillor Sunger on that particular one.
Can I just interrupt you a moment, Councillor Whitbread? We have Councillor Whitehouse that wants to say something.
This is regard to number 15, as sort of previously indicated, nominate Councillor J.H. Whitehouse for the vacancy on 15B, the Epping Town Partnership, please.
Thank you. Please continue.
Thank you. Whilst it's, I think, in a very low profile existence at the moment, hasn't met for about 5 years, but more than happy. Can we take that as been agreed?
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
Okay.
Councillor Whitehouse, do you want to say something?
And it's the same type as earlier on number 18, that should read J.M. Whitehouse rather than J.H. Whitehouse.
Have we noted that, Mr. Woodall? Yes. Please continue.
Thank you. Part 2 of this paper is the appointments held by officers. Can we take those as being agreed? And then the appointments held by officers for organisations carrying out council regulatory or non-executive functions. Can I take those as agreed? Agreed. And that effectively brings us to the end of the report. Can I take the rest of the recommendations as set out as agreed?
Agreed. Agreed.
Thank you very much, Councillor Whitbread. So, Councillors, item 10 on our agenda is the appointment of the monitoring officer, details of which can be found on page 53. May I ask the Leader of the Council, Councillor Chris Whitbread, to present the report.
Thank you, Chairman. We are indeed lucky to have a new monitoring officer. Not that Ms McGuinness was enjoying it immensely, but we do have a new monitoring officer, Barbara Beardwell, who I'm sure you will all get to meet in due course. We are lucky to have someone of such experience of both district and county and unitary level. So a fully qualified solicitor, as you would expect, and ready, willing and able to take on the challenges of Epping Forest as our monitoring officer. She is absolutely first class. We are very lucky. And can I ask members to agree to recommendations?
Thank you. Oh, I have a question from Councillor Whitehouse, please.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to ask a question, really. I mean, yes, I think it's very good that we've got an experienced monitoring officer joining the council. I noticed a 3-day-a-week appointment for the sole role of monitoring officer, whereas previously we had, I think, a 2.5-day appointment for the joint role of monitoring officer and head of legal services. Just be helpful to understand the thinking behind the expansion in those sort of dual roles.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to say it's not because Epping Forest is a busy place for monitoring officers, but there's an awful lot of work to be done. I think there is some work that we need to catch up on, but also it's just such an important role to the council, and there are always so many cases that come up to the monitoring officer. I think that goes and was recognised previously when we had the arrangement where we shared an officer with Broxbourne. We needed more and more time. As I say, and they're rare to come across these days. They are very hard to find at the moment, and we are indeed very lucky. And this is the sort of time that we require as a council.
Thank you very much. So, councillors, we're on item 11 on our agenda, which is the scheme of delegation, which can be found on pages 54 to 80 of our agenda. The scheme has already been agreed at a previous meeting, but the revised layout has been attached for your information. Councillors, do I have your agreement for the revised scheme of delegation?
Agreed.
Thank you very much. So item 12 on our agenda is the council meeting dates for 2025 to 2026. So at the meeting held on 20th of February 2025, the Council adopted the calendar of the meetings for the period May 2025 to May 2026, which included the ordinary meetings of the Council for the year. So it's a requirement of the Constitution that a programme of ordinary meetings of the Council be approved at the annual Council meeting. So the dates were those adopted on the 20th of February 2025. Ordinary Council meetings will be held on the 24th of July 2025, the 23rd of October 2025, 18th of December 2025, 19th of February 2026 and 9th of April 2026. And the next annual Council meeting will be held on the 28th of May 2026. Councillors, do I have your agreement to adopt these dates?
Agreed.
Thank you very much. So we're now on to agenda item 13, which is whether there's an exclusion of public and press. So there are no items for consideration at the exclusion of the public and press. I would be delighted if you would join me in the members' room after the meeting, and I declare that the meeting is closed at 8:26 p.m.